For centuries, Romans believed there was one line they would never cross. They could argue, they could riot, they could even kill politicians in the streets, but they would never turn their armies on each other until they did. For centuries, the Roman Republic survived crises that would have destroyed most states: foreign invasions, economic inequality, political corruption. Rome bent under pressure, but it did not break until Romans turned their violence inward. Because the moment Romans accepted killing each other for political power, the Republic crossed a line it could never uncross. That moment marked Rome's first true civil war, and once it happened, everything that followed became inevitable. The Roman Republic was founded on a deep fear of kings. Romans believed that once power rested in the hands of one man, freedom was already lost. They remembered their kings as tyrants. They remembered how hard it had been to remove them. So they built a system designed to prevent it. Power was divided between offices. Terms were deliberately short. No single man was meant to dominate the state for long. And above all, there was one rule that mattered more than any law. No Roman army was ever allowed to march on Rome itself. That rule was not just legal, it was moral, psychological. Break it, and the Republic would be finished. By the late 2nd century BCE, that belief was under strain. Rome had grown too large for the system that governed it. Conquest brought enormous wealth, but most of it flowed upward. A small elite grew richer than any Romans before them. Ordinary citizens grew poorer. Small farmers lost their land. Slaves replaced citizen labor. Veterans returned from war to find nothing waiting for them. The city filled with angry, unemployed Romans who had little left to lose. Politics became personal, bitter, and increasingly violent. Reformers tried to fix the system. They proposed land redistribution, limits on elite power, relief for citizens who had fought Rome's wars but received no reward. These reforms threatened powerful interests, so the reformers were attacked. First with insults, then with mobs, then with weapons. They were beaten in public, then murdered in public, and each time it happened, the Republic survived. That survival sent a dangerous message. Violence worked. Each successful act of political violence weakened resistance. Each unpunished killing rewrote expectations. What had once been shocking became acceptable, then routine. Rome was learning a lesson it would never forget. If force could solve political problems, laws became optional. Debate became weakness. Compromise became dangerous. Politics stopped being about persuasion. It became about survival. The final barrier collapsed when a Roman general made a decision no one before him had dared to make. He marched his army toward Rome, not against foreigners, against fellow citizens. This act was illegal, sacrilegious, unthinkable. For generations, it had been the one line no Roman dared cross. But this time, no one stopped it. And that mattered more than the march itself. The army entered the city. Political enemies were hunted down. Lists were posted publicly, naming Romans marked for death. Property was confiscated, families destroyed, careers erased overnight. These killings were not hidden, they were legal. They were justified as necessary for stability. Rome had turned murder into policy. The Republic still existed. The Senate still met. Elections were still held. Laws were still read aloud. But everyone now understood the truth. If you lost politically, you could die. And if you had an army, you could win anything. This was the moment Rome crossed the point of no return. If you're enjoying this kind of history, the kind that explains how systems break instead of just who wins battles, subscribe to the channel. This is part of a larger series on how the Roman Republic destroyed itself long before emperors ruled Rome. Because what followed this moment explains everything that came after. After the First Civil War ended, Rome tried to pretend nothing had changed. The generals stepped down. The Constitution remained. On the surface, the Republic survived. But the precedent was set. Force had replaced persuasion. Future leaders understood the lesson clearly. If violence worked once, it would work again. And next time, they wouldn't stop. Within a generation, Rome descended into repeated civil wars, each one more brutal than the last, each one justified as necessary. Every faction claimed it was saving the Republic. Every faction hollowed it out a little more. Violence became expected, even normal. What made this change permanent was not just the violence itself, but how Romans learned to live with it. People adapted. Political murders no longer shocked the city. Armies inside Rome no longer caused panic. Emergency powers became routine. Romans began planning their lives around instability. Alliances replaced principles. Loyalty mattered more than law. Survival mattered more than participation. Once that mindset took hold, the Republic could no longer function as it once had. Because republics require losing. They require the belief that you can be defeated politically and still be safe. That belief was gone. After the First Civil War, every major political contest carried an unspoken threat. Lose badly enough, and you might not live to try again. This changed who sought power and how they sought it. Moderates disappeared. Compromise vanished. Only the bold and the ruthless advanced. The Republic didn't collapse under this pressure. It adapted to it. And in doing so, it ensured that violence would return again and again. Each new conflict felt justified because the last one had worked. Each escalation felt necessary because restraint no longer offered protection. This was no longer a temporary crisis. It was the new normal. This is why Julius Caesar matters and why he doesn't. He didn't invent civil war. He inherited a republic already addicted to violence. When Caesar crossed the Rubicon, he wasn't breaking tradition. He was following it. Rome had already accepted the idea that armies decide politics. Caesar simply proved how far that logic could go. The tragedy of the Roman Republic is not that it fell to tyranny, it is that Romans accepted it. They accepted political murder. They accepted fear as governance. They accepted stability over freedom. The Republic survived on paper, but its soul was already gone. This is how republics really die, not with a single overthrow, but when violence becomes normal, when losing power becomes dangerous, when citizens decide that order matters more than participation. If this changed how you see Roman history, like the video. Subscribe for the rest of this series on how the Roman Republic collapsed slowly, quietly, and from within. And comment below, do you think the Republic could still have been saved after this first civil war? Or was this the moment there was truly no going back? Because history doesn't end when institutions fall. It ends when people stop believing they're worth protecting.